What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And listen, man, happy Wednesday, people. And happy Win the Dog Day. The dog's been released, not from the club. They've released the plush toy for you to get. And Top Gooners are going crazy online because, you know, I've said it's shameless and blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is. We'll talk about that in more detail. We'll talk about Benjamin Sesko. Remember him? We've all been doing scouting videos on YouTube over the last 2 weeks, convincing ourselves. Top Gooners again been telling us he's the new Haaland. And how we're going to get him? Well, he said no to us, I'm afraid. He said, no, I'm staying. I'm not leaving. Leonardo DiCaprio settings. And now, apparently, he was never good enough for us anyway. I mean, I've called him Benjamin Tesco for the last 2 weeks. This will only be a short stream because I'm going to drive down to the Emirates and buy 45 Win the Dog toys. Of course I won't, people. I'm not that shameless. But I don't know what's worse, the fact they're selling them or the fact some people will actually buy them. It's crazy. I'll tell you some of the responses I had. So the best response I had, and I keep checking because the guy still hasn't got back to me. He sent me a message saying, let me just read this. He said, why are you annoyed that the club are selling toys? Look what Real Madrid do. He then sent me 2 pictures of Real Madrid. One's a teddy bear and one's like a dog that they sell as well. I said, have absolutely no problem with the club trying to profit from selling toys. Just would rather they won major trophies before selling them to us, as Real Madrid have just won the league and Champions League. As of yet, he still hasn't replied to that message. That was at 8:27 a.m. this morning, so he's probably disappeared. He might have blocked me for all I know. But yeah, the audacity. Change its name. I said that. Change the name of the dog. It should not be called... Don't call it Win. We ain't won nothing. The only thing we won is that dog. You know what I mean? It's like going to the fair playing hook a duck. You know, what kind of... Call it We Tried or Compete or Phase. Call it Process. Come here, Process. Come here, boy. Don't call it Win. We ain't won nothing. £25 as well, brother. Yo, I know people were like, oh, you're going too far. I said, nah, it's all part of the PR system. But look at this. You know, when I saw it, I didn't see the whole post. So when I saw it, I thought, we've signed someone. A new addition I saw. So I thought, oh, there we go. We've signed someone. A new addition to our soft toy range. Grab yourself a mini Win now. And this is what they're showing me. We're in transfer season. I'm looking for Isak, Osimhen, Gyökeres, Ivan Toney, whoever. That's what I'm looking for. You give me this. We're going to need some more red stripe. It's going to be a long summer, people. It's going to be a long summer. Book your holidays. Find something good to watch on Netflix. Take the wife out. Go for long walks in the country. Don't get too caught up in Arsenal over this summer period. Even if it affects my views, people. I'm saying it for the well-being of everybody in the community. Enjoy your summer. Watch the Euros. Watch the Copa America. Watch the Olympics. Just enjoy yourself. Don't get too caught up in this. I thought we'd signed a new striker. They brought out Win the Dog puppies for £25. Soft toy available in stores now. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. As I say, I have no problem. Maybe you sell 10,000 Win the Dogs, you can then buy Isak for 120 million. If there's an end product to the crazy formula, I'm more than happy with it, people. If you've got to sell 50,000 Win the Dog toys to go and get Osimhen or go and get Isak or go and get as a top player, no problem. I'll even buy one myself. I'll give it to charity. Just get yourself away from it, people. Enjoy your summer. Trust me, I'm watching NBA tonight. You know, I'm taking my mind off it. I really am. But anyway, it could be worse, I suppose. Man United have just given Ten Hag a new contract. That boiled egg will be there for the next 3 years. So, you know, that rules them out the title race for the foreseeable future. So... yeah, we've toyed into... no, genuinely. Toys R Us. I'm sure Toys R Us has gone now. And what was the toy shop back in the day? Jolly Green Giant or something. You know, at Christmas when that Toys R Us advert came on, man, boy, you said you dreamed of that toy as a child, you know. I don't know if you'll be dreaming of this toy, but we're Toys R Us right now. We are. Big up Arsenal Tale said, catching you live, Curtis. My dad loves you. Shout out Brian73. Big up Brian73, man. Big up. Toys R Us are out of business. Did they go bankrupt? I thought they might have. I don't see them no more. Curtis, they're toying with us. You're right. Literally. It's Smith's now. It could be. We might as well just bring out Toy Story 5 documentary. To be honest, yeah. Get Buzz Lightyear up front. Maybe he can get us the Premier League title. But anyway, listen. That's my little, information and entertainment. We haven't signed anyone, but the dog is available in stores now. People, just £25. I'm doing this for the sake of the club because if they sell enough of these, maybe they get us the striker that we need. I mean, look. How could you say no to that? It even says win round the neck. Imagine how small that is. Probably about £25. Selling fast. They're selling fast, guys. You better rush down to the Armoury. Next day delivery. Be selling Ann Summers next. Bro, we might as well. They might as well just do OnlyFans at Arsenal. At this point, just do OnlyFans. Like, you lot are just. There's no limits to what this club. You're turning into a toy store. It's just crazy. But yeah, win the league, I'll accept it. That's what I said to the guy in the comments. He's going crazy. Oh, Real Madrid sell teddy bears. Yeah, they won the Champions League, mate. Do whatever you want. You can sell anything when you've won the Champions League. But when you ain't won nothing, don't call the dog Win. That's all I'm saying, people. Change the name. Call it Buzz Lightyear or something. But yeah, this club knows no bounds at the moment. But anyway. Yasin said, my daughter would love that toy, but there is no chance I'm spending money on that thing unless we sign Isak. And you're right, bro. Stand your ground. You've rattled Twitter again. My Twitter comments are a cesspit, as you can imagine. All I said, I didn't even go that crazy, people. All I said is, if I speak, I'm in big trouble. That's all I said. I thought that was quite timid for me. If I said what I really thought, it would have been wild. But that's all I said. If we win the league, I might buy one for banter, but not until you win something. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on, people. If anybody actually buys one, I want you to let me know in the comments, just for banter. Anyway, let's move on. Are we actually going to sign anyone? Let's hope so. Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Tesco. Every little helps. I said I didn't want this guy. He didn't even look that good on YouTube. I'm going to be honest. The volley was good, the left foot volley. I didn't want him. And I'm not capping after the event. You guys know this. He don't want to sign for us. Now, part of me is like, I'm glad he didn't sign for us because I don't rate the guy. Right? Not bothered. But then the other half of me says, how does he feel comfortable saying no to us? That's the other thing. I didn't... Honestly, Rory sang, I never rated the guy. Anyone who watches this, I was calling him Benjamin Tesco. I said I don't want him. Him saying no doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that how is a 21-year-old from RB Leipzig who's on 50 grand a week turning down Arsenal? Turning down Chelsea, you've just hired a manager from the Championship. They've had, 4 managers in 18 months. They're in the Conference League. That looks a bit of a crazy situation. Man United, until last night, we didn't know whether Ten Hag was going to stay or go. They're in the Europa League, blah, blah, blah. I can see why you might say no to that. The roof's leaking. Arsenal, I'm like, we finished twice, 2 years in a row. We've had our manager for 5 years. There's stability, there's money, there's a title challenge, there's Champions League. And this guy feels comfortable enough to say, nah, you're all right, mate. I'll stay at Leipzig and double my wage. That's crazy. Now, I think it's probably because I think the problem we're going to have this summer, and I've said this before and I've said it again, people, the conversation when a striker is in talks with Arsenal will be, you're going to have to compete with Kai Havertz for your number 1 spot up front. Because this manager is not going to turn his back on Havertz. There's no way. He's not just going to sign Sesko and say, Havertz, you're on the bench, he starts. He's going to say, you got to compete with him. And I think he's looking at it going, I'm 21, I'm going to the Euros, I need to play every week. I'll just stay where I am and sign a new contract. So Listen, I'm not particularly bothered that this guy hasn't signed for Arsenal. I'm really not. My thing is, if this was your plan A, what is your plan B going to look like? That's sort of my issue, and we're going to talk about that later on in the show. Akeem said, I think only Real Madrid have that super pull. Curtis, are you having a Drake? No Drake moments, bro. Drake, does he even rap anymore? I thought Kendrick finished his career, but anyway, we'll talk about that in another stream, maybe. Tells you everything about his mentality, not good enough. It's crazy, isn't it? Because on one hand, I think Dre's playing up in the comments, by the way, today. You better behave, bro. On one hand, I'm like, okay, it's brave of you. 21, you've rejected Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man United to stay at Leipzig. Imagine he has a bad season or gets injured. Where are you going next year? No one will want you, bro. Remember when everyone wanted Tammy Abraham at one stage? I never rated him, by the way. Tammy Abraham's getting linked with Everton now. You know what I mean? So it's risky of him. But on the flip side, he scores 20 goals next year, he's worth 100 million, like you said, Salman. Sesko knows he'll be worth 100 million 2 years. If he came to Arsenal, he'll be sold for 10 million to Mallorca. I've said it before and I've said it again. Arteta's kryptonite is strikers. As of yet, he hasn't dealt with the striker situation once at this football club. He walked into Golden Boot winning Aubameyang. He put him left wing. The guy came back looking like Travis Scott with a long plats. His goals went downhill. His career went downhill at Arsenal. Lacazette, that guy's hairline disappeared. He couldn't score in a brothel. He went. Eddie Nketiah was there. We knew Eddie. You might as well have Eddie Murphy. Then you got Jesus. Knees mash up. Can't run. You know what I mean? He's Lacazette with cheekbones. You've ended up putting Havertz up front. He's actually done all right there as well. But that, you know, the striker situation is the one that he's got to fix. Dre said Xerxes is on his way. We talked about this before the season ended. Dre actually said this guy Xerxes looks a decent player. I think Arsenal will end up getting it. I was like, no chance, man. Not with that haircut. I shouldn't judge him off the SpongeBob haircut. If he's a good player, I don't care what kind of. You can turn up with that Lionel Richie Jericho all you want, as long as you put 20 goals in. But maybe Xerxes is the one we're going to go for. So for me, Sesko not signing, I'm not actually bothered. I don't rate him. Not like that anyway. But I worry with Arsenal because how often do we pull out a good plan B? I suppose a good plan B was Trossard. You went for Mudryk. You didn't get Mudryk. You got Trossard. He was cheaper and he's done better. So that plan B worked out well. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't think we need to get too caught up on Sesko. What my issue is do Arsenal have a good plan? Have they got a good list of strikers? Will they go in a different direction? Let's read out these super chats, then we'll move on. Cope says, big up the community and Mr. Big C. Bless you, Kevin. Yeah, man. Again, people, I have no update on Kevin Campbell. I've reached out. I haven't heard anything. So I'm assuming I did speak last week to people around him and they said he was in the same situation. So if I get an update, I'll let you know. And maybe you guys will hear before me online. Cooper said, get Ivan Toney to the carpet. Listen, I'm in agreement. I don't think we're in a situation now where we can start turning our nose up at strikers. Yeah, every Arsenal fan wants Isak. To get Isak, you've got to blow up the transfer market. Are this ownership prepared to do that? If they are, great. If they're not, we've got to look at alternatives. Then it's Osimhen. Now, I think Isak would cost at least 100 to 120 million. Osimhen's 110. So if you get all the way to 110 for Osimhen, you might as well get Isak if he's the one you really want. If Arsenal are not going to buy Isak, they're probably not going to buy Osimhen either because he's a similar amount of money. So then you've got to start coming down the ladder in terms of how much money we're going to spend. Will they spend 85 million on Gyökeres? I don't think they will. He's had one season in Portugal. He's had a small knee injury recently as well. I just don't think they'll take the risk with him. So then you come down a bit lower on the ladder. If you're looking at 50, 60, 70 million, who can you go for? You're looking at Xerxes, who I'll be honest, I know very little about. You're looking at Sesko's, obviously signed a new deal. You can't get him. I think Ivan Toney ends up being the most logical signing. 60 million, year left on his deal in the England squad. He's had a 20-goal season in the league. A lot of people have turned on him because he had a quiet 6 months when he came back from the ban. But before that, in January, nearly every Arsenal fan was saying, go and get Ivan Toney. So I still wouldn't be oblivious to taking him. I still think there's a goal scorer there. Solanke for me is no, honestly, sign Solanke, this turns into an NBA channel. I'll walk away like Craig David, people. Honestly. You don't move to the Emirates and leave Highbury to sign Dominic Solanke. I'm sorry, you just delete the club. Call them North London Red like they used to on Pro Evo back in the day. I don't want Solanke anywhere near this football club. No disrespect. Although I suppose I am being disrespectful. Dovbyk, now I think he's decent. I think he is decent. Go for Dovbyk then, Curtis. 26, scored 24 goals in La Liga. He's somebody I wouldn't be against. I think he's not bad. I've watched him a few times this year because I do watch La Liga and he's looked good. He can finish. Juan says, recently just got to hospital. Been a bit sad recently. Your streams cheer me up. Big C in the community. Big up, Juan. Get well soon, bro. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope we can lift your spirits. Maybe we'll get you a Win the Dog toy and send it to you. That might cheer you up. But nah, big up for tuning in, bro. Hope you get better soon. Big up Sam, who said, Curtis, aren't Arsenal a club you can take too seriously? If you get your hopes up, the club will find a way to disappoint you. Not wrong. And he's come with a super chat as well. Big up Sam. He said, Sesko said no players want trophies. Plus Edu only signs players who have fallen out with their manager or their team has had a shocking season and they want to leave big clubs to go to a team doing well and luring their key players. I suppose really, yeah. He's never pulled a top player out of a big club, I suppose, if I was being harsh. Odegaard was at Real Madrid, but he was 8th choice. They weren't interested in him. Declan Rice was at a lower club. Havertz, Chelsea wanted him out. Timber was a good signing, but we know Ajax take money if you turn up with cash. I mean, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Big up Matt Southern Gooner. Go and follow his channel. He said, keep telling y'all, Tony. Get this brother Fofana here ASAP. We're going to talk about him. Will be a bit tough considering French teams are hard to deal with their TV right issues. It may be worth it. It's crazy how quick, people turn on players. Tony 6 months ago was flavour of the month. Now nobody wants him. I would still take him. I think he's the most logical. Arsenal's back. Here he is. I've told you before, keep the super chat money, bro. Just relax. Just put normal comments in. I still read normal comments. He said, the club's shameless, but grown men crying is a shambles. Bro, no one's crying. You don't see any tears here, bro. This ain't Crimea River. Justin Timberlake. I want them to reveal new signings. I want them to win trophies, not win a dog and not win the toy. I want win trophies like this here. Arsene Wenger was lifting trophies. I want to win trophies. So, bro, if I could, I would refund you that. I told you, bro. Don't waste your money. I read normal comments anyway. It's a waste of time. Other channels are available. Go and enjoy yourself. Enjoy those other channels. But anyway. He still throws his money in. Don't cry, we're here for you. Win the dog. Hey, listen, don't worry, man, don't worry. Matt said, here's the reality. Get prepared for Havertz to lead the line another season. We'll get 1 to 2 signings. Expect most of this squad to run it back. Listen, I would absolutely bet money on it. Kai Havertz starts up front first game of the season for Arsenal. He's our striker. We didn't even realise it at the time. The man threw a pump fake to us. He signed him and called him a midfielder. Really was just waiting to finesse him into the striker position. He's starting up front for Germany at the Euros. They're probably going to have a good Euros as well. Havertz starts opening game of the season up front for Arsenal. Facts. We will sign a striker who is young, who will not mind sitting on the bench. Sesko probably said, I won't come to Arsenal because you're not going to guarantee me minutes up front. And that's the problem. Havertz will be up front for Arsenal first game of the season. It actually wouldn't surprise me if we don't even sign a striker now. We could go for a winger instead. And then you've got Havertz and Jesus as your 2 strikers. Wouldn't surprise me if we don't sign a striker. Hey, Rory sang. Hey, not really. We're not even talking about Rashford today. But Matt, you're right, bro. You're right. Havertz will lead the line. It's always been like this with Arsenal. Wenger used to do it. You go, right, we need a DM this summer. We're desperate. We needed a DM for 10 years under Wenger. That guy did everything he could but to sign a DM. Flamini would have a good 6 games. Nah, we'll keep Flamini. We don't need a DM. Then Coquelin had a good 10 games. Oh, we'll keep Coquelin. We don't need a DM. I'll buy more attacking midfielders who are 5'6", who are technically gifted. We had about 10 of them in the team. Rosicky, Haleb, Cazorla, Fabregas, Nasri. That's what it was. Havertz form, we were like, this is nice. Havertz, Killer Kai, Dipset, Haaland. What was actually happening was any chance of us signing a world-class striker was disappearing. That's what was happening. Hakeem said, I've seen Havertz claiming he's a striker now. He didn't know what his favourite position. He's a striker, bro. He starts up front for Arsenal. He starts up front for Germany. That is our big money striker. I'm telling you now, we'll sign a Xerxes or a young buck, or we might not even buy a striker. That's what I think. Only DMs Wenger were getting was from Ty. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on, people. I've waffled for long enough there. Let's talk about Fofana. Let's talk about Fofana. If you watch this channel on a regular basis, I've been saying all season, Arsenal need to sign this guy in the summer. I genuinely don't know how he hasn't been signed yet. Maybe because of the Euros, these deals can't get done quickly. He's with the French squad. And according to reports, Monaco are willing to accept £20 million, which is around 25 million euros, which is crazy. Year left on his contract, not prepared to renew, 25 years of age, 32 games this season, 36 last season, 33 the year before, 35 the year before. So he doesn't really miss many games for injury. 4 goals, 4 assists. Of course, he's more defensive-minded, so you're not going to get huge numbers out of him. He's with the French squad at the Euros. Played 11 games now for France. 2 goals. It makes so much sense that we probably won't do it. That's the issue. It's like the more sense something makes to Arsenal, the more unrealistic it becomes for Arsenal almost. But I just hope they get this done. There's actually 2 reports about him today. Number one is Ryan Taylor in the Sport saying Arsenal are also admirers of Monaco's Youssef Fofana, who is set to leave the Liga club this summer and have held initial talks with his representatives, but at this stage, discussions have gone no further than that. Also, Fabrizio has said that Arsenal have sent scouts to watch him a number of times towards the end of the season, but Arsenal have not yet made an offer for the player. I mean, as Jay-Z once said, what the hell are you waiting for? Get the deal done. Stop. £20 million. It's a bargain. Absolute bargain. I don't understand why we wouldn't do it. Maybe they're not fully convinced on him. Maybe they see him as a Partey replacement. I'd be signing him regardless of what happens with Partey. £20 million. 25-year-old French international. Quality player. He's a beast as well, honestly. Absolute beast. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know whether Arsenal will make the move for him. Like I said, there is 2 reports today. One from Fabrizio and one from Ryan Taylor. He's also being linked with AC Milan as well. PSG is said to have been admirers of his. But AC Milan apparently are the team that are very much interested in him as well. So Arsenal can't afford to wait around is what I'm saying. But why would you not just go to Monaco? And listen, as Matt said, there's an issue at the moment. The French TV rights are set to go down massively. I think basically what's happened, obviously the TV companies agree to pay a certain amount of money each year to football clubs in that league. I think ultimately the fact that Mbappe has left the French league in a situation where there's going to be very little interest in that league. Now that Messi, Neymar, and obviously now Mbappe is gone, these TV companies are saying, yo, what we was paying you before, you're going to have to take that down a long way. Who's going to be watching the French league? That league is absolutely all over the place. So now, because the French clubs are not going to get the money they was expecting from the French league, There's financial problems there, probably outside of PSG. You'll see a lot of clubs in the French league selling players this summer. So, listen, we've got a relationship with Monaco. We sold them Balogun, although Balogun hasn't done that well there this season, so maybe they won't like us. But we sold them Balogun. Surely we go there and get this deal done quickly. If you turn up next season with 4 centre mids, you got Declan Rice, you got Fofana, you got Partey, you got Jorginho. I think that's a solid 4. You've only got to pay £20 million for this guy. And then you can spend big money. And this is what I keep saying. A lot of people's pushback is Arsenal can't spend 110 million on Osimhen or 120 million on Isak if that's what it's going to cost. My argument is Arsenal spent 227 million last summer. Let's just say Arsenal spend 200 million this summer. If you spend 20 million on Fofana and you've got 180 million left, spend 120 million on Isak. That's the position we need. You've got Fofana as your midfielder. You've still got Rice, Partey, Fofana and Jorginho. Spend 120 on Isak. And then the other 60 million that's left, maybe you can get yourself a right winger to compete with Saka. Maybe you need to get a defender at left back or a centre back. Who knows? You might need a second choice keeper if Ramsdale goes. I think now we're in a position we don't need to sign 7 or 8 players. We need 3 or 4 players. And 2 or 3 of them need to be players that go into the starting 11. And then a couple of them go on the bench. Now, listen, as I said, I mean, like Chrome said, maybe 120 doesn't even get you Isak. They've got the richest owners in the world. If they're asking for 150, 160, you probably walk away at that point. But, hey, we will see. We will see. This one, though, Fofana is an absolute no-brainer. They've watched him, they've scouted him, they've spoken to his representatives, so surely they're interested. You wonder what the delay is, really. But then when you look at the transfer window, there's not a lot happening at the moment, so maybe the Euros is delaying it. Arsenal's back. I told him keep his money, but he's come back. He said, Rashford, Bruno, Braithwaite, that's the window. I can't see that happening. There's a lot of rumours over the last few days that if Bruno Guimaraes leaves, he's going to Man City. They're saying that Pep's already spoken to him. Braithwaite's good player, but does Braithwaite start at Arsenal? I don't think he does. Now, Everton apparently want big money for him. I don't see why Arsenal would spend 60, 70 million on Braithwaite to put him on the bench. And why would he come to us? He's being linked with other clubs that I think he would start at. And Rashford, I mean, I like Rashford. I don't think United would sell him to an English club, but I hear you. Trig said, Tony, Sancho, Fofana, Bruno Guimaraes and Diamande. Would you take Sancho, yeah? There are some rescue missions out there if we wanted to do the RSPCA thing. I might actually do a video. Arsenal rescue missions. 5 players that we could potentially rescue from clubs. I think Sancho will sign for Dortmund. Either on loan with an obligation or they'll pay for him now. But yeah, I think he'll end up at Dortmund. Diamande, I do like him. I am a fan of him. He 40, 50 million, you probably get him. Carlos said, imagine getting Theo Hernandez, Fofana, Kudus and Isak. I mean, that wins you the title, don't it? I think that wins you the Premier League. There's your midfielder, there's your defender, there's your winger, there's your striker. Imagine Rashford scores in the opening game, runs down the corner, does the celebrate. It would be, I'd smash the laptop. The laptop would go out the window. I'd have to finish the stream on my phone or something. It's as simple as that. But anyway, Fofana, if it makes sense, Arsenal probably won't do it. It makes so much sense, we'll probably go and buy someone else. But I hope we do. Get the deal done. Somebody said they give Arteta credit. Now, listen, I'll be totally honest. Balogun, Arteta and Edu, I will give you your flowers on that one. At this point so far. 7 goals this season. Yeah. He got 21 the year we sold him. So, yeah, listen, they get credit where credit's due. I will always credit them when they deserve it. When they don't, they won't. It's as simple as that. Make sure you hit the likes, people. Nearly 2,000 of you locked in. Big up the Twitch gang as well. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Going to be mixing things up a little bit over the next few weeks. At the moment, the news is very slow. So we'll stream as much as we can. but there'll be a lot more pre-recorded content as well. Obviously, the Euro starts Friday, so there'll be watch-alongs as well. We'll get regular watch-alongs for the games. Are you going USA? Yeah, my plan is to do the tour. Still waiting to hear if that third game is going to happen. Apparently, they're going to play Bournemouth, but there have been some rumours the game could be played behind closed doors. So if that happens, that'll be frustrating. But obviously, they're definitely playing Man United and Liverpool. So yeah, we'll be there, LA and Philly. Anyway, let's move on, people. This one, sometimes with Arsenal, you see certain players move and you think, I don't know, you sort of think, well, we was linked with that player. Are you guys seeing this, by the way? Now, for those of you not watching and listening in, Douglas Luiz is on the verge of signing for Juventus. Juventus, who didn't win the league, who've just sacked their manager, who don't have huge amounts of money to spend. Agreement very close with Juventus for Douglas Luiz, a swap deal. Ling Jr., Samuel Ling Jr. and Weston McKennie plus 20 million euros, which is around 17 million pounds. I don't understand this deal. Now, that Samuel Ling, I'll be honest, I haven't seen him much. So maybe he's a really good player and Villa are getting a great deal. But I watch Weston McKennie play in the Premier League. Oh, my days. He was awful. Absolutely awful. So unless that Samuel Ling is one hell of a player, 17 million pounds plus two players, one of which is Weston McKennie, who is absolutely awful. Oh, is it Illing? Sorry, Illing. Samuel Illing. I don't know how good he is. Douglas Luiz, I mean, I just don't understand why Aston Villa are taking that. I don't get it. Weston McKennie is absolutely awful. 17 million pounds. You ain't getting nothing with that. And this guy, Ling, I mean, I don't know how good he is. So I don't know. But Douglas Luiz, when he was being linked with Premier League clubs, there were stories saying, Villa are saying, yeah, but he's as good as Caicedo and Rice, and they paid 100 million, so we want close to 100 million. I don't get it. So is it Samuel Illing? Is it Illing or Ling? Samuel Illing Jr., 20 years of age. I'm just trying to get a bit of insight into it. 24 games, most of them off the bench, 1 goal. I don't get it. He's born in London, actually. Came through at Chelsea. I don't get it. I don't understand what Villa gain out of that deal. He's Douglas Luiz, one of their best players. You're getting a young guy. Weston McKennie is awful. And you're getting 17 million. Yeah, maybe Douglas Luiz wants out. And Juventus are a big club. I'm no disrespect to Aston Villa. Juventus are a massive club. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah, you have to wonder, don't you? If Arsenal went in for Douglas Luiz, can you imagine the prices they'd be asking for 80 million plus? He's going Juventus for a pick-a-mix. You know what I mean? I just don't get... Bro, honestly, Weston McKennie, I watched that Donny in the Prem. He was awful. Absolutely awful. I couldn't believe how bad. I mean, they signed him Ross Barkley from Luton, who's had a very good season, but you would have thought they would have wanted him in that same role. That other deal, by the way, that is crazy as well. Chelsea are signing that, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but Duran from Aston Villa for 20 million pounds. I don't know what's going off in football. Duran, is it John Duran? 20 years of age, 23 appearances for Aston Villa last year, only 7 starts. 20-year-old striker, Colombian international, three caps, no goals. Chelsea want to pay 20 million pounds for him. I don't get it. I do not understand it. How, and this is what I'm saying, you can get 20 million for a striker at Villa that's hardly kicked a ball. Surely we can get 30 million for Eddie Nketiah, who's had England caps and, you know, done bits. Better with Duran. Listen, a lot of people online are saying Duran is a good player, by the way. I'm not saying he's looked lively when he's come on. It's just surprising that Chelsea are going for him. It looks like they're going to go with Nicholas Jackson with Duran as the understudy. That sounds strange. You wanted McKennie 2 years ago. Yep, we'll delete them streams. We were 5th at the time, probably maybe even 8th. So desperation. desperate times, desperate measures, I suppose. We still had El Neni and them guys at the club, so Weston McKennie looked decent, but we've moved to a different level now. Weston McKennie, for me, is a terrible football player. But yeah, interesting. Douglas Luiz on his way to Juventus. Curtis White, don't worry, we'll delete them ones where I was saying, yeah, get Weston McKennie to Arsenal, but yeah, you know, at them times, we wanted Tielemans at Arsenal. Most of you wouldn't want Tielemans at Arsenal now, let's be honest. So, yeah, times change, I suppose, as we move. Duran is a reflex signing. You have beef with McKennie. I don't. I just, you know, the fact where did he go? He went to Leeds, didn't he, or somewhere? Why didn't we go for Luiz? That's what I'm saying. They would have asked for big money, I think, though, if we went for him. Tony said, shout out from Canada. Nick said you had a few red stripes when you wanted McKennie. Maybe, bro, maybe. Listen, let's move on. Let's talk about some other players anyway. Joshua Zirkzee, who we were talking about. This was reported by Gunnar Blog. He said Joshua Zirkzee of Bologna has been linked. Arsenal do not intend to pursue the 23-year-old Dutchman. With Sesko off the table, it's not certain that they will immediately pivot to an alternative striker. And this was a story that was out last night as well, people, saying that there is no guarantee now that Arsenal will actually go for a striker. They may target a winger. Which, listen, at the end of the season, there were people in the comments saying, listen, we're not desperate for a striker. I'd rather pay big money and get a top quality winger. Do we need a left winger? Martinelli's form has dropped. Trossard looks better when he plays a bit more central at times. We need cover also for your boy Saka. So do Arsenal go for a goal-scoring winger and stick with Havertz up front? Listen, I've said it many times. I think Havertz can actually score goals in this Arsenal team. My problem is, can he score goals in the big games, in the big moments? But I think Arsenal's mindset, unfortunately, is going to be that he scored 13 goals last season and he only played half a season up front. They're going to look at it and say, listen, if Havertz gets 38 games up front, how many goals is he going to score? And I think Arsenal believe Havertz can score 20 goals. That's what I think they think. And they'll use Jesus as rotation as the striker and the right winger. I would not be surprised if that's what happens. I would not be surprised. Because this manager loves Havertz. Havertz will be our striker at the start of next season. I've got absolutely no doubt about it. The manager loves him. He's starting up front for Germany as well. That's going to build, you know, that's going to sort of buy into his height. Imagine if Germany win the Euros and Havertz is up front. All of a sudden, he looks like a world beater of a striker. So Havertz will be up front. I'm convinced of it. I think Arsenal will spend money on a striker. So we'll see. We'll see. As I said, I do think Havertz will score goals if he plays up front all season. I just don't know whether he scores in the biggest games, but time will tell. Don said, I love Havertz, but we need a proper striker so bad. I totally agree. Because I look at it like this. Real Madrid have just won the league and the Champions League. They didn't sit there and go, well, you know, we've won the two biggest trophies, so we don't need a striker. They signed Kylian Mbappe. So if we didn't win anything, we shouldn't be sitting there going, we don't need to improve. Manchester City won the league playing with a false nine. Pep didn't sit there and go, I've won the league, I don't need to sign anyone. He signed Haaland. So even if we've got Havertz, we should still be going big for a striker. Static said, yeah, I didn't want Zirkzee. Arsenal, go and get Kudus. A lot of people saying we should go for Kudus. Willian's distant cousin. You know, like, it's horrible, isn't it? You should never judge anybody in life, really, based on their appearance. It's, you know, it's totally wrong. And I don't want to be... But we're all thinking the same thing. Like, we are. We're like... and, you know, other YouTubers will be thinking it. But I'll say it. You just look at him and think, you're not going to be a superstar striker with that haircut. I'm sorry, we're all thinking it. Don't get me wrong, it's not the afro, you know. Willian had the afro, he made it work. It was a neat and tidy afro. In Jamaica, we have a saying for this kind of afro. And a lot of you will have heard of it before, people. We call it picky head ras. We call it picky head ras, people. That's the kind of afro. You put the afro comb through that, 2 or 3 bits of plastic are falling out of that afro comb. You need the metal afro comb that's real strong. You call it picky head ras. I've never in my life seen a picky head ras striker lead a team to a title, people. I'm being real. People saying Marcelo at Madrid, yeah, I think his was all right. At times it got a little bit natty dread, but he was at left back. You're a defender. You're more gritty. You can have that. But as a striker with flair and finesse and goals and celebrations, ain't no picky head raw striker leading Arsenal to a title, people. I'm sorry. Nah, man, I'm saying it. I don't want him. I don't want him. I'm sorry, like... You're all thinking it, people. Picky head raw striker ain't leading us to no title. I'm being real. I'd rather keep Havertz up front than this guy. Make him go on somewhere else, man. Nah, man, nah. Pratim said, big disrespect. Just see the clips, dude is a beast. Nah, man, 11 goals, man. Picky head Ross. Drogba didn't have picky head Ross, though. What did he have? He relaxed his hair and everything. He had all sorts going off. Soul glow settings with Drogba. Drogba had straight hair at times, bro. It was crazy what was going on with Drogba. Nah, man, I don't want Xerxes at Arsenal. He ain't leading us to no title, man. Nah, I'm vexed. Don't want him. Don't want him. I don't care if he scored a few good goals on YouTube. He ain't winning us no title. Unknown C said, this club forever 3 or 4 players away from real success. They never take the leap. If we don't get at least the top centre, mid and forward, banners need to come out. And Unknown C's calm, you know. He was calming me down in the member streams. You know, I came away saying, you know what, maybe I need to relax a little bit. But nah, man. Nah. Roy, you know, listen. Look at this. I don't think Fitz has ever put a comment in with laughing emojis. We got Fitz laughing. He usually kicks down the door, shotgun, shoot down everything that moves. Fitz is laughing, he knows. Ain't no picky head raw striker winning us no title. He ain't. Blanca Street Fighter said, nah, man. Centre back, no problem. Headbutt people. Left back, yeah, man. Clatter people. Striker, nah, man. Afro, man. I was gonna go to court because I got high. Ooh, I was gonna pay my child support. I don't want Afro, man, up front. Nah, bond that. Keep him there, man. We have to move on. I don't want Xerxes at Arsenal, people. Jerry Coyle, Soul Glow settings, man. Nah. We didn't move to the Emirates for that, people. Brian said Havertz performing at striker has been a blessing and a curse. I like Havertz, but I think the forward line need more help. It was always going to happen, people. It was always going to happen. You know what Arsenal is the equivalent when it comes to like Havertz and that? It's like being given money. It's like someone saying in the street, here, do you want £1,000? You go, what? I'll take that. 1,000, thanks. Oh my God. I'll go and spend it. You spend the £1,000. You realise they took it out of your bank. And you've just spent it and you can't get your money back. That's what happens. Every time we're watching Havertz score, we're like 60 million down. We're loving it. We're going, yo, I like Havertz up front, you know, but can't wait till we sign Isak or Gyökeres or Osimhen. Every time he scored, what actually was happening was we was getting a step further away from buying a big boy striker. So it's like they give you with one, they're taking with the other. They're giving you money. Yo, go and enjoy yourself. Go shopping. Get yourself a nice shirt. You're going out tonight. You got money to spend. You can do whatever you get. A couple champagne bottles. You realise they've took it out of your own bank account. That's what Arsenal do, people. We're so close, yet so far from Manchester City. You put 2 or 3 top quality players into this team this summer, we can win the league next season. You get as a top quality striker. You get as a top quality centre mid. Maybe you need to buy a defender, but maybe you can play Timber at left back. Timber got man of the match at left back against Man City in the Community Shield. So if you go with Raya, Timber, Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, there's your back 5. You get a top quality centre mid to play next to Declan Rice, whoever you think that should be. Odegaard in front, Saka on the right. I mean, I don't even know who would start on the left out of Trossard and Martinelli. I suppose it depends on pre-season. And then your new striker through the middle, whoever that. Imagine you had Isak. That team wins the title next season, in my opinion. Unless Pep goes crazy and just outdoes us and buys. But we don't need to do a lot. That's why it's frustrating. We don't need to sign 7 players. We need 4 or 5. So, and then a couple of squad players. So we'll see. But yeah, listen. Personally, I'm glad Xerxes isn't coming to the club anyway. Someone just said Fabrizio just tweeted about Arsenal. Let's have a look. Is it an old tweet or a new one? Because I know he tweeted earlier. Let's have a look. Fabrizio, what's he saying? Oh no, it was about. Fofana. Fofana expected to leave, currently not on PSG's shortlist. They're looking at different players. Premier League clubs keep monitoring. Well, this is what Fabrizio does during the transfer period. He recycles the same thing over and over again. He'll do 10 tweets about Fofana and just use different words and make you think it's something new. But it's the same thing that he said earlier on. So no change. Premier League clubs looking at him. Let's see what happens. Anyway, let's move on. Big up to everyone locked in. Over 2,000 of you tuned in. Really appreciate your support all the time. Legends each and every time. Let's talk defenders. Graham Bailey came out with breaking news this morning. Usually quite reliable. He said that Arsenal have told Alexander Zinchenko and Kieran Tierney that they are free to leave the club this summer, but they want Jakub Kiwior to stay. It's interesting because a week ago they were saying that Kiwior could potentially go back to Italy. But obviously they must have spoken, made a decision. The club sources have not ruled out a departure for all 3, but it would appear an unlikely scenario. So he's kind of said 2 things. They don't want him to go, but they've not ruled out all 3 of them. I think really, if an Italian club came back with a good offer for Kiwior, they would sell him as well. Let's be totally honest. Kieran Tierney's being linked with Celtic, but I'm not sure they can afford the wage. I suppose if they can buy him for less money, they give him a bigger signing on fee. What are your guys' thoughts on these 3 players? And what I really am asking is, would you have kept any of these in an ideal world? Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't think Arsenal will sell all 3 in the same transfer window. I think one of them will probably stay. Tierney will go. I'm almost certain. And then I think with Zinchenko, the problem you've got with Zinchenko only signed a 4-year contract. He's 2 years into it. If you're not going to start him next season, which I don't think we are, whatever value he's got is just going to be going lower and lower. And then next year, you've got Zinchenko with a year left on his contract. The problem you get when a player's got a year left, he might say, do you know what? I'm not leaving. I'll see out my contract and get a massive signing on fee. So I think you're in a situation where if you're not going to play Zinchenko, you've got to get rid of him this summer. Like LSU said, he said, buy Kieran Tierney, Zinny stays only if in midfield, Kiwior stays. And I just don't think they trust Zinchenko in midfield for whatever reason. So I suppose it depends what clubs would come in for him. There was links to Bayern, but apparently Bayern don't want him. Who would sign Zinchenko? What sort of level of a club would he go to? He's on 150 grand a week. Tierney, I think every Arsenal fan feels the same about Kieran Tierney. We'd all love Kieran Tierney to stay. Imagine having 2 left-backs next year. One's Tierney and one's Timber, and Tomiyasu can play there. But Tierney he doesn't play enough games. But we did look at it the other day. He's been available. He's been in the matchday squad more times than Zinchenko this year. So for me, Zinny's on your bike. I'd get rid of Zinchenko this summer. Just while he has some sort of value. Like I said, if you're going to play him in midfield and he does well there, maybe you can keep him. But otherwise, you get rid of him. Tierney's done at Arsenal. Unfortunately, I'd like him in an ideal world to play because I think he's a fantastic player. But the guy will not make it at Arsenal. Kiwior, in buy, sell, loan. I actually said I would sell Kiwior at the right price. Let's do a poll. Would you keep any of these 3? So basically, just click the one that you would keep out of the 3. Which one would you most keep? Would you keep any of these three players? Do you know what? The one thing I always say with Kivior, why I give him a little bit of a blight, is we haven't really seen him in his best position. He's a centre-back, and the guy's always at left-back. At left-back, I don't rate him. But centre-back, you might have a good player there. It's a bit difficult for me to really judge him. Man said quick sell all of them for 15 coins. It's interesting. Tierney's definitely going to go. One Love said I'd bin all three. Lonesome said I would sell them all. If I had to keep one, it would be Kivior. Greg said if we sell Kivior, we need to buy a new left centre-back. Ennis said I would keep Kivior. If we get a 35 million plus offer, I would consider selling him. Patriot Gunner, Zinni, please close the door on your way out. Saliba AFC says quick sell. You're just cashing in quick. You're not even putting them on the transfer market. Salman said sell all of them and go for Alphonso Davies. It's funny, we got a show coming out today, I believe today, on AFTV. Me, James, Bavs, and Christian. And we were talking about players we would go for. There's two parts to that show. I think one part's out today and maybe one tomorrow. And somebody said Alphonso Davies. I just don't think he would come to us, though. Alphonso Davies has said openly he wants to go to Real Madrid. He's got a year left on his deal. I think he's probably going to see out his contract and go to Madrid next year. So I don't think you could get Davies out. I would love to. He'd be brilliant for us, but I get you. I do get you on that. Yeah, we'll leave that vote there for a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. Our players, we rate them so low. Man are just quick selling them. You know what I mean? No respect. You don't even want cash. You just say, just give me a few coins and take them, man. But listen, realistic, if we do our job properly, Zinchenko should still be a player that you can get decent money for. You know? And also... I just seen a few of you in the comments talking about Jerry West. Wow, that's crazy. Wasn't he the logo of the NBA sign? I'm sure he's the actual logo, right? He's an icon of basketball, isn't he? Wow, that's crazy. Jerry West, I'm sure he was the actual logo, isn't he, on the NBA sign? Proper legend of basketball, man. That's sad news. Jerry West is the NBA logo. Yeah, I thought so. Wow, that's a legend in basketball there. Sad news, that. Very sad news. Let me do the last couple of stories, then we'll round up. We'll finish the poll. We'll get into your comments as well. An interesting story, and there you go, Rory. I'm just about to drop the story, but you're there before me, bro. That's what I like about the community. You guys are on point. Arsenal, according to reports coming out of Spain, Arsenal are interested in Real Madrid goalkeeper Andre Lunin this summer. The Ukrainian would replace Aaron Ramsdale and provide competition for David Raya. The relationship between Lunin and Carlo Ancelotti is now rather cold. Just to give you a bit of context, Lunin is a Ukrainian international, 25 years of age, had a very, very good season, played a lot of football, obviously, because of the ACL injury that Courtois sustained. So he played 21 games in the league, 8 Champions League games. He was dropped for the final. Some people felt it was disrespectful, but Ancelotti don't give a damn, bro. That's why he's one of the best managers of all time. And I'm not being funny. Courtois had a stormer in the final, kept him in the final. So that's the difference. Lunin is a good goalkeeper, very good goalkeeper. I think he would actually put a lot of pressure on David Raya if we was to get him. The question I always ask with a situation like this, if you're at Real Madrid on the bench, why do you come to Arsenal and sit on the bench? Unless he feels he has a better opportunity of getting in the Arsenal team, which he would, because David Raya is not as good as Courtois. But surely if he leaves Real Madrid, the club that he goes to, he needs guarantees that he's going to be the number one goalkeeper. The reports are coming from Spain. He has a year left on his contract, and Real Madrid apparently are willing to sell him. They're not going to let him go. These people in the comments saying he's better than Raya, who'll play ahead of him. Fitz said the word on the street with Lunin is that he's more of a number one. Pressure, says J Blue. He's clear of Raya. Let's be real. But again, it's one of them situations, isn't it? Like, we might think he's better than Raya, which I'm not sure he is, by the way. But he definitely looked good for Real Madrid this year. But it's about what Arteta thinks. Arteta loves Raya. Raya's just won the Golden Glove. He's about to complete the permanent signing of David Raya. I don't think Arteta would just then say, we'll sign Lunin, bench Raya. I just don't know if that happens. Apparently, Real Madrid want around 20 million euros for Lunin, which is around 16, 17 million pounds for the player. He's got a year left on his deal, so it's doable. It is doable. And apparently, he's fell out with Ancelotti, but I just think whatever club he goes to, he's going to want guarantees that I'm going to get first-team football. Otherwise, you might as well just sit on the Real Madrid bench and enjoy yourself there. And of course, listen, the fact that Courtois had an ACL injury, who knows? Who knows? I don't know whether he is better than Ray. I haven't watched enough of him, but I know he's played well when I have seen him. I don't see this deal happening. It's interesting that Szczesny, we were being linked with. Szczesny's on his way to Saudi for nearly 300 grand a week, so he's got a great deal over there. But yeah, and somebody just said there, I missed that one. He said, where was it? Angel said, Arteta loved Ramsdale, he benched him. But I just feel the timing is too close. At least with Ramsdale, he had like a full season, and then he said, nah. He was like, are you going to buy Raya this summer on a permanent and then buy Lunin and then drop? I don't know. I have no problem with us having two quality goalkeepers. We all just know that it's very difficult to keep two good goalkeepers happy, which is the reason I think Ramsdale will leave this summer. What I will say about Aaron Ramsdale is that he's running out of options. Newcastle are about to sign James Trafford. So that there ends probably any hope of him going to Newcastle. Newcastle was one of the clubs he was probably going to go to. So I don't know. Where does he end up? He's been linked with Wolves. So we'll see. Daryl said, Lunin is a beast. I watched him all season. Very good with his feet. The way Arteta likes to play. Salman said, Ancelotti would bench Raya and start Lunin, but we got Arteta. It is over. And big up Salman, he lives in Spain, so I'm sure he has a lot of insight. Thermal said he had Emi Martinez. I think you're right. We sold him for 20 million, so basically anything can happen when it comes to goalkeepers. Let's be real. Sign David De Gea. Listen, I'm not completely against that. And I'll tell you why. Number one, you're looking for a second-choice goalkeeper. Now, we've had people like Matt Turner, who was absolutely awful, a.k.a. Tina Turner, who now Forest want to get rid of him. De Gea, number one, would be a brilliant second choice. Number two, I think he'd actually put a lot of pressure on David Raya. The only thing with De Gea, he's not good with the ball at his feet. Second of all, he's a free transfer. So again, we're saving money then to go and spend more money on maybe a striker, a midfielder, a winger. So I actually wouldn't be against David De Gea. I think that would be smart business. If you can get De Gea on a free, you can get Fofana for 20 million. All of a sudden, you've signed your goalkeeper and your midfielder, and you've only spent 20 million. You could probably sell Nketiah for 25 million. That's covered both of them transfers. You could sell Ramsdale for 30 million. That covers them. So it would be smart business in terms of a second-choice goalkeeper. We're not likely to get a top-quality second-choice keeper. And I get some people saying, nah, De Gea. But you've got to remember, De Gea got the Golden Glove last season. I know this season just gone, he didn't sign for anybody. As a second-choice goalkeeper, I don't think it would be bad business to get somebody like him. Anyway, finally, before we round up, people, we will end that poll shortly as well. Alex Crook on TalkSport. I mean, this isn't a great source. He says a lot that doesn't happen, but he does have a bit of insight and info. He said, on Arsenal's failed pursuit of Sesko, the names that have mentioned to him earlier today in terms of alternatives have been the likes of Osimhen, Vlahovic as well. They flirted with him before and didn't really give them the time of day, so I can't really see that one. That's not exactly breaking news, is it? I could have told you that myself, bro. They love Daily Doosan. Nah, listen. They always want to bring Daily Dusan back, don't they? Yeah, flirted as well. No Diddy, by the way. He was leaving messages on 2 blue ticks, man. Red and no response. Osimhen, I mean, are we going to pay 110 million release clause? I don't think we are. And then I don't see Vlahovic. They said Vlahovic wasn't getting on well with Allegri and they've sacked him. They brought in Thiago Motta. So it's probably, you know, he said that was his dream club to go to. The manager he didn't get on with has left. I'm sure he'll be there next season. I don't see that happening at all. Thermal says Osimhen stinks blood. Big C, have you seen Arsenal's Twitter about the dog? Hey, the intro of the show was about the dog, bro. I spoke about it for about 5 minutes. I've ordered 55 dogs. I'll be handing them out over the next... No, I'm joking. BBL Dusan. BBL Dusan. BBL Dusan. All right, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there, people. Anyway, let's finish on the poll. Out of those 3 defenders, which one would you rather keep? 46% Kivior, 41% Tierney, 13% Zinchenko. So there you go. You want Zinchenko out, is what we can say. You've all seen enough of Zinny. You want him out. I think Kivior will be the one that stays out of the 3. I think Tierney will definitely go. And I think Zinny will go if we get a good offer. When we get in a win the dog green screen. Maybe when we win the league. That would be ultimate shameless levels. But Curtis still an Allegri fan. Nah, not me, bro. That was that guy won it on AFTV, the plug. Allegri's, it's done. It's a done deal, and it never happened. But hey, listen, people, big up to everyone locked in. Really appreciate your support today. Thank you very much. Big up everyone who watched the pre-recorded video yesterday as well. Do have a show coming out, I believe, on AFTV tonight. But it's not out yet. So, but I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow we're going to do a Euros prediction show as well. Top goal scorer, player of the tournament, who you think's going to win it, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, we'll do it around, we'll talk about Arsenal as well, and if there's any transfer news, we'll discuss that. Friday, we'll do a watch-along for the opening game. I think it's Germany-Scotland. We'll do that. Havertz will be up front. So, and Tierney might actually be playing as well. I think Tierney's in the squad, right? So, yeah, we got a little bit of an Arsenal angle that we can do. And England, we'll do an England watch-along on Sunday night as well. So, keep it locked. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Take care. Enjoy your day, people. And I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.